Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 219 of a year of change. Today we're going to sort of follow up what we talked about yesterday. We're already starting to screw up. It's not been a good week. And it's just starting too. I'm just going to sort of follow up with what we did yesterday because it was very, very short. And I just sort of wanted to expand a little bit as to why we're sort of stepping back and doing what we've pretty much been doing for the past 12 weeks anyway. But I guess during the past 12 weeks, when we've been sort of looking at sodium and fat and sugar, we have, I'm not going to just repeat what I said yesterday, but we have sort of lost, or I have anyway, lost focus in a lot of places to a point where I just sort of want to step back, take a look, and make sure that we're doing everything right. Because, I mean, once you sort of start focusing on sodium, for example, then that's all that you're focusing on, and you're trying to make sure that that's sort of maintained. You're bound to lose something in the meantime. Same thing with fat, when you're just sort of looking at it going, all right, well, I need to sort of set that aside, and I keep saying sort of, and I don't really mean to, but I keep setting that aside, and I want to be able to replace it with this. And then, again, you're going to lose something that way. Same thing with sugar, which I've seen that I'm cutting way back on the sugar, and then my sodium goes through the roof. So the next couple of weeks, the main reason why I just sort of wanted to take some time and lay everything out and take a look at it is because when we first started this, all we had to do was track our calories. Everything was fine because as long as we stayed below what our goal was, we were okay. Even when we're adding in exercise, you tend to burn off some of those calories, so you add those in, so you're still sort of counting the same thing. Even tracking our water, which I have not been doing, I mean, that's not something that's going to add to our calorie count. So, that's one of those things that we're just sort of, well, I won't track it as much as I should. And then we added in sodium and fat and sugar and everything else. And what I found is that, for me anyway, that I've been tracking my calories, and then usually maybe on a Thursday, that's when I think of sodium. I don't think about it throughout the rest of the week. Same thing with fat and sugar. I just seem to lose that because I'm only focusing on one thing. And if we're going to be doing this, if we're going to continue on for the next 5 months, doing what we should be doing and taking the information that we've learned and trying to apply it, then we really should Then we really should be doing this properly. We should be looking at everything. And starting out in the daytime, knowing how much that we have in store for the day, just calorie-wise. Adding in whatever you do for exercise and say, okay, that's my goal. I know I need to do that. So that one is fairly easy because we don't actually go over all that often. Find sometimes you do if you think, well, I can go over a little bit. I still exercise, so it's okay. But you still have that hard target that you need to reach. So that as long as you don't go over that, then you're okay. Things are still going well. The problem with that is, though, is that I'm not paying attention to all the little things that I should be at the same time. And so it feels like I'm just sort of doing a half-assed job and that I'm going through and I'm making sure that the calories are okay. And then at the end of the week, I'm adding everything up and going, oh, well, I didn't follow anything. Well, of course I'm not going to. If I'm not tracking it, I'm not going to follow it. It's the same thing as if I wasn't tracking my calories, then I can't go at the end of the week, add everything up, I'm drooling all over the place, add everything up at the end of the week, and then look at it and say, oh, that's weird, I went over, every single day. Well, of course you're going to, because you're not paying attention to what you're supposed to be doing. We're just watching our calorie. Well, again, I'm sort of saying we, because I'm assuming that some of you out there are doing the same thing that I am. You're starting out and you're on track because everything is fine because you only have one thing that you need to track. Then we add in a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth, and just trying to track everything all at once. It's just, we're so not used to it. And we should be by now because we've been doing this for months. So I really want to take the next couple of weeks to just sit back and I suppose sort of take stock of everything and lay it all out so that we can look at it and say, okay, if I need to track, obviously the calories are taken care of. I have my FitnessPal for that. Just need to get into the habit of actually looking at everything I'm doing and saying, all right, so I've had my breakfast. What are my sodium levels like? What is sugar like? Where's fat in all that? And again, it's sort of trying to do those little adjustments as well. Saying, well, I've gone over my sugar, but all I had was, an apple for the day. So that's okay. It's not too bad I'm going over a little bit that way. So the numbers are a little bit skewed. Same thing with fat. If you look at it and go, well, it's at 35%, but the only thing that I had a handful of peanuts, and that's where the fat came from. At least that's a little bit better than having it from a Twinkie. But if we are going to be tracking these things, these are sorts of things that we should be looking at every single day, and I'm just not. I'm going through, and then sometimes halfway through the week, I'll remember, and then I'll take a look at it and go, oh, well, I really need to do something about that. And then, sort of tweak things the next day. And then, for some reason, just because it's not in the forefront, it's not right in front of me every single day. So, you get little pop-ups and things like that, but I tend to forget about it until the end of the week. So I want to get into the habit, so I figure 2 weeks should do it, where I'm looking at everything that I've had for my breakfast and then taking a quick snapshot and saying, all right, well, my fat is fine for the day. My sugar is okay. I still have however much sugar I can have in the day. And sodium levels, I know where that needs to be. So then when I have my lunch or when you have your lunch or a snack or whatever you have, just periodically throughout the day, quickly go through and just review those. Because I think that's really the best way to sort of start for this. I know that I said we weren't doing any changes yesterday. So, but I really think that this is a good time to sort of start in on this, where we get that routine going again, so that when you're putting something in, just it becomes part of it, so that when we're entering it into MyFitnessPal or whatever app you're using, that you quickly go and take a look at your sodium and your sugar and your fat and everything, just to take a look and say, okay, well, here's where this needs to be. And it's weird because now at this stage, because of how much we've learned, I don't feel like fat is as important because, obviously if you're eating, saturated fats, then yes, that's bad, but everything sort of gets tracked that way. So, I don't want to sort of take it off though and then just say, well, as long as you're having, healthy fats, then don't bother tracking it. Because again, we're looking for a good balance. We're looking for something that's going to be sustainable. And if we're eating 50 and 60% of our diet as fat, it doesn't matter if it's healthy or not, that's not good for us. So we're going to keep that in there, but just making it part of our routine that you go in, add in whatever you're eating or drinking or whatever, and then quickly take a snapshot, quickly take a look at what your sodium and your sugar and your fat levels are. As things progress, I think this is going to make things a little bit easier for us when we start looking at carbs and protein and fiber and all the other stuff, just so that we're a little more aware of everything that's going on. So it's not just the calories, because it's so easy to get sort of tunnel vision towards that and say, no, I'm under my calories, I'm good for the day. But obviously everything else is too far gone. And I think that once we start balancing that out as well, then we're going to notice a big difference in our progress. I think that it's going to be a little more smooth. It's not going to be as spiky and gain and then lose and then gain and lose and gain and lose. Gradually you're still going down, but if we have everything so that it's not a huge spike of sodium and then a huge spike of sugar. I was going to say silver, and I don't know why. A huge spike of silver. Don't eat too much silver in your diet. You will turn blue. It's called... starts with an A. I think it's called this. There we go. I'll put that up there. Your skin actually, if you eat too much silver... then your skin actually turns blue. Argyria? No, I'm thinking of progeria. That's different. It's completely different. Silver is argent. Maybe it is Argyria. I don't know yet. We will tell. Anyway, we'll find out when we will tell. We will find out when that goes up there. But yeah, it's a weird thing. If you eat too much silver in your food, then your skin actually turns bright blue. Look it up. It's amazing. Anyway. Completely off topic. So if you have a huge spike in sodium or sugar or silver or whatever it is that you're eating, I think that's going to contribute to it. Yesterday's weigh-in was bad. I've undone a week's work, basically. And I'm looking at my calories and I'm looking at my exercise, and it's not making sense. And I think a lot of it, though, is that, huge sodium spikes from sunflower seeds, because I should be eating the non-salted ones. Not too many sugar spikes, although I had a whole lot of apples. So, it could very well just be the fact that, I've been eating poorly as well, because I did have hot dogs throughout the week. And maybe it's just, I don't know what it is. When I go back and look through, I'm like, the fat content is a little high. Sodium is through the roof. So it wasn't very good. But I think we're getting to a stage now where it's not as easy to keep losing when we're just doing the calories, because our body is getting used to it. And this is a type of a plateau, I guess, where we've reached a point where they're going, no, we know that you're going to be doing exercise and you're eating properly and everything else. And because our calories aren't going down, eventually we will still continue to lose. That's not in debate. If you're burning more than you're putting in, you have to lose. That's the way it goes. But I think that, and again, not a doctor, but I think that must be contributing to it somewhat. Some of it obviously is poor eating, but some of it I think is also those big spikes and everything's just sort of out of whack. And I think if we get to a point where we start looking at it properly and doing what we're supposed to be doing and tracking our sugar and our salt and making sure that those fat ratios are in the right ballpark, then I think it is going to make things a little easier, and we'll start seeing that progression smooth out, so it's not as spiky all over the placey, which is an actual term. But that's what I want to do for the next couple of weeks, is actually just try to get into that habit of really tracking absolutely everything like we have been, but paying attention each time I go in to say, okay, well, this is how much fat is in there. I mean, you get the little pop-ups every now and then, or if you're one of the people that's paying for the premium thing, I think you get that as part of it too. You don't need it, though. So I'm not telling you to buy it. You don't need it. But if we just go in, take a look and say, okay, here's where I stand for the day. That's going to help us plan out maybe our lunch or our dinner, or, if we were going to have a snack, we can sort of go, probably shouldn't go for that one, even though it's low calorie, because there's a little bit too much sugar in there. I'll go for something that's a bit higher calorie, but less sugar. And, then just sort of curb a little bit. What word am I looking for? I don't know how to use the word curb. I meant, I think it's snot all over myself too. This has been a great video. I meant the verb, not the word. It's a verb, and a verb which is with the silver. Anyway, good God, I have completely fucked everything up in this video. So, I think that means it's time to end it here. So anyway, just to summarize, take the next couple of weeks, really sort of delve in deep as to what we're trying to do, and I need to track calories. We need to track, I keep saying I, but it's everyone. We need to track our calories, our fat, our sugar, our sodium, everything that we're doing. We really need to actually sort of start doing this properly. And maybe you're one of the people that have continued on and you've been tracking absolutely everything. Your progress is going to be much smoother than mine. But I think it's just a matter of, out of sight, out of mind. And until that little thing pops up, I don't really see it. And I just kind of go, yeah. I'm just going to keep going, and as long as I'm under my calories, I'm okay. But I really do think that we're beyond that point now. So I think it's a good time to start doing this. We have a couple of weeks where we aren't making any changes. We aren't adding in new information, so you're not getting inundated with stuff again. It's just going to be a nice couple of weeks to sort of sit back and not really reset, but start doing things properly, the way that we should be doing. And hopefully after 2 weeks, it'll become routine. So that when we check in, we put in our foods, and then we check our fat, our sodium, our sugar, all that stuff. And that's going to guide us towards better choices during the day. And in turn, that's going to sort of carry on week to week and month to month and year to year and make things a little bit easier for us, I think, in the long run. Anyway, I've gone all over the place. I've drooled. I've probably snotted all over the place. I've screwed up every word that I can imagine. And I've told you a disease that I don't know if I got right. Or symptom. It's not even a disease. And we screwed that up too. So I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. And in the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.